For cheap D2R items, visit aoeah.com. You get 3% off with the code Arreat. Check the link in the description. Hello and welcome everybody. In this video you will learn some important details about melee PvP. I will present you another very nice community and also offer you a very budget build. At this point, thanks to Ozzy and Rock from JustMelee, who made a great effort with the statistics and wrote very useful guides and calculators which they share with the community. Some of these you will see in this video, and also the budget build is made by Rock. I joined multiple PvP communities and I see great people everywhere. So also much thanks and love to all GM PvP players everywhere for keeping this wonderful game alive. I will also make videos about other formats in the future to show you the great variety of Diablo 2 PvP, but today we'll focus on JustMelee. JustMelee is a quite young community in which Zealots, Wolf Druids, Wolf Barbs, Cons Barbs and Melee Amazons can challenge each other in a universal ladder ranking. There is both a league and regularly occurring tournaments. For the top placements there are nice prizes to win, which go into the pot on a donation basis. They also care a lot about ideas and wishes from the community. Like in every GM PvP format, there are some formal rules about the process of a match and for the items the players are allowed to use. Something special in this community, EDC is banned. The reason is quite simple, it is just too strong. When EDC is allowed, most people just will use it for its high performance, because they can't afford weapons that can compete with an EDC. So that leads to a smaller variety. Someday, when there are more strong weapons in circulation, EDC might become unbanned. Rock has done a great job writing a calculator where you can compare any rare weapon to EDC. When crafting my Zealot setups, I also made the calculations on my own, and when using Rock's calculator, I get exactly the same values. To be kinda even up with an EDC, you will need an Ethereal Fool's Berserker Axe with at least 285% ED, 40% attack speed and a low rune in it, so this is still very expensive. But there is a very strong and cheap alternative, Breath of the Dying. Rock's calculator can also compare weapons to EBOTDZ. Here you will need the same axe with only about 260% enhanced damage to be even up. Important data are the effective damage per second and the average surviving time sec to death. It says how long the compared builds would survive in a duel when suffering a steady damage input from the opponent. So why is EBOTDZ that strong, although it has no deadly strike on it? This will become more clear after working through some statistics. Here you can see the general formula for the chance to hit. The character level of both fighters is part of it, and when you lag in levels here, you will pay twice. You got a worse chance to hit the opponent, but the opponent has a better chance to hit you. So melee players want to reach level 99 to have no disadvantage here. And when both players are at the same level, the calculation becomes more simple. From the formula we get this hit chance table, comparing attackers' attack rating and defenders' defense value. We need to consider that players also have 75% block chance, so in average only 1 out of 4 hits will pass. This means we have to divide the chance to hit displayed on the table by 4. Talking about the damage in PvP, there is a malus of 83%, so only about a sixth of your damage will count. You get the exact value when multiplying your damage by 0.17, rounding down. Additionally, the opponent usually has some damage reduction. Here the flat values are calculated first, and then all the damage reduced by percent, which is capped at 50. Players usually go to the cap, so in total we have to divide our damage by 2 again. Then we can see the damage that actually is subtracted from the opponent's life points. Maximizing damage and life has high priority, since a bigger life pool will directly increase your sec to death, and higher damage will shrink the opponent's average surviving time. Weapons with high min damage deal very constant damage. Weapons with high max and low min damage on the opposite have a high variance in their damage output, so they are called lottery weapons. Bethink that the actual damage you deal always will be a random value between your min and your max damage. Of course, you also should not forget about your attack rating and defense value and bring them to a good standard. But in the end, it's about the fine-tuning. I guess we could make a whole science out of it and maybe fill a separate video on this topic, but I'll try to shortly explain what this is about. 3 20/20 small charms of course have the highest value per inventory slot. Charms with life plus attack rating or defense are lower in comparison, but under circumstances it can pay anyway to put out some few max AR life charms and replace them by life AR or life def. This is the case when it helps you to just reach another 1% more hit chance or shrink the opponent's chance by 1%. But you should never exchange too many charms. Most times I don't swap more than 4, so it's good to have a handful of both types. Finally, we will now see the EBOTDZ build. The E means that it is an ethereal weapon, BOTD is the rune word Breath of the Dying, and the Z stands for Zerker, so it's a berserker axe. It has no deadly strike on it, but we get 60% IAS, what is sufficient for maximum speed yet. It also has high damage and minus 25% target defense, which only works at 50% power in PvP, so we subtract 12.5%. So an average paladin opponent will lose about 3500 defense points. The plus 30 to all attributes is also very heavy, because like that we can spend many points in vitality and thus get a huge life pool. Without the full smod on the weapon, we need to use the angelic set when fighting paladins or barbs. But that's kinda perfect for a budget build, as you don't need an expensive stats ring here. When fighting Zons or druids who have low defense values, you can swap to High Lords and to Ravenfrost. Since we don't need any attack speed in the helmet, we can put pure damage jewels here, and only one socket could be okay for the first yet. I have socketed pure max damage. Keep in mind that the combination of enhanced damage and min or max damage will be buggy when not socketed in the correct order, or when both is on the same jewel. Rock also wrote a calculator for this, you will find a link in the description. Then we put a 40 sacred armor and a storm shield with a chum rune, since we have no Ravenfrost in this setup. We also play Gore Riders, Verdungos and Steel Rend. You know all these items from my Zealot guide yet, but I did not show a concrete build for BOTD. So here you got one. This setup is very cheap, we don't need a fool's weapon or any expensive armor, we can play a cheap Visio helm and we don't need any expensive jewelry. We just play dual Angelics or High Lords dual Raven, depending on the enemy. Like that, our swap is also very cheap, as we don't need an extra weapon for druids and Zons here. Only thing we can't avoid is getting an inventory with max AR life small charms. And even when picking cheaper ones, it's still quite expensive because you need 37 of them. You should prefer 3 max damage and high life rolls. For the attack rating, mid rolls will be fine too. It took me a long time to build up my inventory. I'm playing towards this since the release now. But the good thing, once you have such an inventory, you can also use it for any other melee builds, PvC barbs or boa Zons. The EBOTDZ build shines with huge damage, a fat life pool, solid attack rating and minus 25% target defense. The only drawback compared to other builds, it only can reach 25% deadly strike. The chance to deal double damage sounds very attractive, of course, and when triggered on a high damage roll, it feels overpowered as well. But people like to forget that not every strike is a max hit, and so the chance for a deadly strike maybe is a bit overrated. Using mathematics, you can compare the worth of deadly strike in discrete values to other attributes, and since EBOTD is high everywhere else, it can easily compensate for the missing deadly strike. EBOTD also is a very strong axe for barbarians, as you will see in my upcoming PvP guide. Since a barb also gets about 30% critical strike chance from his mastery, he has even less worries about the missing deadly strike. I hope you have enjoyed this video. In the description you will find the links leading you to JustMelee community, where you can get more data and meet lots of cool people. I say goodbye, take care, and may the loot be with you.
Follow me. Come on. Thanks. Goodbye.